There is a moment people will never tell you about. A moment when their eyes meet yours and something in them flinches. They don't know what it is. You don't know what it is. But for half a second, the room shifts. And then they smile too quickly, or they look away too fast, or they say something that has nothing to do with what they were about to say. That flinch is not random. That flinch is recognition. And once you understand what is happening in that split second, you will never see another human being the same way again. My name is George, and if you are watching this video right now, I want you to slow down, because what I am about to share with you is not theory. It is not symbolism. It is not some clever interpretation of Revelation that I am stretching to fit a YouTube thumbnail. This is something I have watched happen to me, to people I love, to brothers and sisters who finally stopped pretending over and over and over again until I could not deny the pattern anymore. There are people walking the earth right now who carry something the rest of the world cannot name. The book of Revelation calls them the 144,000, sealed, marked, set apart before they ever drew breath. And here is the part most preachers will not say out loud. When one of these people walks into a room, the people in that room respond. They cannot help it. Their spirit responds before their mind has time to catch up. And what their spirit does in that moment is one of the strangest, most uncomfortable, most beautiful things you will ever witness in your life. I want to walk you through 9 things people do when they recognize you. Not when they like you, not when they trust you, when they recognize you. There is a difference. And by the end of this video, I promise you stories you have buried for years are going to come crawling back up out of the ground. So let me start with the first one. And this one is the one that will probably make you cry, because you have lived this so many times you stopped counting. The first thing people do when they recognize you, they avoid your eyes. Not all the time. Not in every conversation. But in the moments that matter. In the quiet moments. In the moments when something honest is being said. They cannot hold your gaze. Their eyes drift to the floor, to the window, to their hands, to anywhere but the place where your soul is sitting. And it is not because they do not like you. It is because something in them is being read, and they know it. Think about Elijah for a second. When Elijah walked into Ahab's court, the king did not say, "There is the prophet of God." The king said, "Is that you, you troubler of Israel?" That is what a man says when his conscience just stood up inside his chest. Ahab could not even greet him properly. The presence of Elijah was already convicting him before a single word came out. That is what happens around you. People feel uncovered. They feel seen. And the natural human response to feeling seen when there is something hidden is to look away. So if you have spent your whole life wondering why people seem nervous to look at you, why old friends suddenly cannot make eye contact, why the cashier at the grocery store gets flustered for no reason, stop blaming yourself. Stop thinking you are doing something wrong. You are not. You are carrying a presence that pulls truth to the surface, and not everyone is ready to let their truth be pulled. The second thing people do when they recognize you, they confess things they never planned to confess. You have lived this. I know you have. Because every chosen one I've ever spoken to has told me the same story. Strangers tell you about their marriages on airplanes. Co-workers you barely know start crying at the coffee machine and tell you about the brother who died 12 years ago. The neighbor you wave at every morning suddenly stops you in the driveway and tells you she has been thinking about leaving her husband. And you stand there, holding a bag of groceries, wondering why on earth this woman is telling you something she has not even told her own sister. It is because the seal you carry pulls confession out of people, the way the moon pulls water. They do not understand it. You do not understand it. But there is something about your presence that bypasses the social masks people normally wear and goes straight to the part of them that has been screaming for years. And when that part of them recognizes a safe place, even for a moment, it pours. Think about the woman at the well in John 4. She came to draw water in the heat of the day, specifically to avoid people. She had built her whole life around hiding, and within minutes of meeting Jesus, She was running back into the village, shouting, "Come! See a man who told me everything I ever did." She was not interrogated. She was recognized, and recognition broke her open. You have that same effect on people. Not because you are Jesus, but because the one who lives in you is the same one who lived in him. And when that spirit looks out through your eyes, people's hidden things stop hiding. The third thing people do when they recognize you, they push you away without explanation. This one is the one that has destroyed friendships you never thought would end. You did nothing. You said nothing. You loved them well. And one day, with no warning, they stopped answering your calls. They stopped showing up. They stopped including you. And when you finally cornered them and asked what you did wrong, they could not give you an answer. They mumbled something about being busy. They said it was not you, it was them. And you walked away with a knot in your stomach that took years to untie. Listen to me carefully. They were not lying when they said it was not you. It really was not you. It was the weight of what you carry. Being near you started to require something of them, and they were not willing to pay it. So they did the only thing the flesh knows how to do when the spirit is calling. They ran. Joseph's brothers did this to him before he ever wore the coat. They could not stand the dreams. They could not stand the favor. They could not stand the way their father looked at him. And eventually, they could not stand him at all. So they threw him into a pit and told their father he was dead. The pit was not about Joseph. The pit was about them. They had to remove him from their sight to keep living the lives they had chosen. And the people who suddenly disappear from your life are doing the same thing. They are not removing you because of who you are. They are removing you because of what your presence is asking them to face. The fourth thing people do when they recognize you, they try to compete with you over things you never entered into a competition about. This is one of the strangest experiences in the life of a chosen one. You are not trying to outshine anyone. You are not trying to be better than anyone. You are just trying to live, breathe, and walk faithfully. And out of nowhere, people you barely know start positioning themselves against you. They one-up your stories. They correct you in front of others. They make sure to mention their accomplishments every time they see you. They build a quiet, invisible scoreboard that you did not even know existed. And they keep score on it for years. Why? Because something in them feels measured by your existence. Not by anything you said, not by anything you did, just by the fact that you are in the room. Your presence becomes a mirror they cannot stop looking into, and what they see in that mirror disturbs them. So instead of asking what is wrong with the mirror, they try to crack it. Saul did this to David. David did not ask to be anointed. He was out tending sheep when Samuel came looking for him. He did not ask to fight Goliath. He just heard a giant insulting his God and his people, and felt fire rise up in his bones. And the moment David came back from that battle, Saul started measuring. The women sang their song, "Saul has slain his thousands, David his 10,000s." And from that day forward, Saul could not see David without seeing a threat. David had not done anything to him. David was loyal. David played the harp to soothe him when the evil spirit tormented him. But Saul could not handle being in the same room as a man whose anointing was rising while his own was fading. So he threw spears. People will throw spears at you too. Not metal ones, word ones, glance ones, subtle ones. And you will wonder for years what you did to deserve them. The answer is nothing. You did nothing. You were just born. The fifth thing people do when they recognize you, they ask you for advice they have no intention of taking. You have noticed this. People come to you. They cry to you. They lay out the whole mess of their lives at your feet, and they ask you what to do. And you, with your whole heart, give them the answer. You speak truth as gently as you know how. You give them scripture. You give them counsel. You give them the kind of words that took you years of suffering to learn. And they nod. They thank you. They say, "I really needed this." And then they go right back and do exactly what they were going to do anyway. At first, this will hurt you. You will think you failed them. You will think you did not say it the right way. You will replay the conversation 100 times trying to figure out what you should have done differently. And eventually, after this happens enough times, the truth will settle on you like a heavy coat. They did not come to you for an answer. They came to you to feel near the answer. They wanted the proximity, not the obedience. They wanted to sit at the well, drink the water, and walk back to the same desert. Jesus dealt with this. The rich young ruler came to him and said, "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" The man wanted the credit for asking the question without paying the cost of the answer. And when Jesus told him plainly, "Sell everything, give to the poor, come and follow me," the man went away sad. He did not even argue. He just walked, because he never wanted the answer. He wanted to be the kind of man who asks the question. You will have rich young rulers in your life forever. Love them anyway. Speak truth anyway. But stop bleeding when they do not change. Their decision is not your assignment. The sixth thing people do when they recognize you, they imitate you in ways that feel uncomfortable. This is the strange one. People start dressing like you, talking like you, quoting things you said back to you, as if they thought of them. They start showing up in places you taught them about. They start using phrases you used in private conversation. They start building lives that look suspiciously like the one you are building, and they do it without ever crediting you. And here is the part that will hurt. Some of them will eventually claim you copied them. I know, it sounds insane, but it happens. Because the human heart, when it is jealous, will rewrite history. It will tell itself a story where it was first, where it was original, where it was the source. And it will tell that story with such conviction that even you, the actual source, will start to doubt your own memory. Elisha is the picture here. Elisha asked Elijah for a double portion of his spirit, and he got it. But notice what Elisha did first. He picked up the mantle that fell from Elijah. He wore it. He walked in it. He did the same miracles. He parted the same Jordan. And he was not a copy. He was a continuation. There is a difference between someone who imitates you because the same spirit is forming them, and someone who imitates you because they want what you have without paying what you paid. The first one is your spiritual son or daughter. The second one is something else, and you have to learn to tell them apart, because one of them will sharpen you, and the other one will exhaust you. The calling is wide. The instructions reach only a few. If there is a burning in your spirit right now, do not minimize it. That is the sign. The secret protocol delivers the 7 keys God reserved for those who are ready to unlock what was sealed inside them before birth. The full audiobook is included to absorb in depth, in your own time, in the presence of God. And the Awakening Map, the bonus guide that reveals the 5 stages of spiritual awakening and positions you with precision at the exact point of your journey today. Link pinned in the first comment. For a limited time, only because not every door stays open forever. The 7th thing people do when they recognize you, they get suddenly, irrationally angry at you. Not annoyed, not frustrated, angry, out of nowhere, over things that do not warrant that level of reaction. You said one sentence at a family dinner, and your aunt has not spoken to you in 3 months. You posted one verse on social media, and an old friend messaged you a paragraph that read like a closing argument. You declined one invitation, and a coworker started a slow, cold war that lasted half a year. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are reading the temperature of the room correctly. The reaction is bigger than the cause. And the reason it is bigger than the cause is because the cause was never the cause. The cause was a trigger. Your presence pressed on something that was already inflamed in them, and they exploded at you, but not really at you. This is what happened to Jeremiah. Jeremiah was not a harsh prophet. He wept. He pleaded. He carried Israel in his chest like a mother carrying a sick child. And the people threw him into a cistern. They put him in stocks. They beat him. Why? Because his words pressed on the part of them that knew judgment was coming, and they could not stand the pressure. The anger was not about Jeremiah. It was about the truth Jeremiah refused to soften. People will be angry at you for the same reason. You did not soften. You did not water it down. You did not let them off the hook. So they made you the hook. Stop apologizing for things you did not do. Stop tiptoeing around people who decided to be offended before you ever opened your mouth. Their anger is information. It is telling you exactly where the Spirit was working in them. The eighth thing people do when they recognize you, they suddenly want to be close to you, even people who never noticed you before. This is the flip side of the rejection. For every person who pulls away, there is another person who, out of the blue, wants in. They invite you to things. They reach out after years of silence. They ask if you want to grab coffee. They tell you they have been thinking about you. They speak about your friendship like it is something deeper than it actually was. And you stand there trying to remember the last time you spoke to this person. It is not always sinister. Sometimes it is genuine. Sometimes God uses your light to draw someone back into your orbit because that person needs what you carry. But you have to learn to discern the difference. Because some of the people drawn to you are drawn to you the way a tired soul is drawn to a campfire. They want warmth. They want light. They want to sit near it for a while. And other people are drawn to you the way someone cold is drawn to a coat. They want to take it. Samuel had to discern this with the men of Israel. They came to him and said, "Give us a king like all the other nations." They did not want Samuel. They wanted what Samuel had access to. They wanted the proximity to power without the relationship to God. And Samuel had to learn painfully that not every approach is friendship. Some approaches are transactions wearing the face of friendship. You will have to learn this too. Not everyone who shows up for the warmth is willing to tend the fire. The ninth thing people do when they recognize you, they try to define you with words that do not fit. This is the final one and the heaviest one. People will assign you identities. They will tell you who you are. They will say you are too sensitive. They will say you are too intense. They will say you are too quiet, too loud, too spiritual, too rigid, too soft, too much, not enough. And every label they put on you will be slightly wrong. But it will be wrong in a way that sticks. Because labels stick. Especially the ones from people who knew you when you were small. The reason they assign you these identities is because the real one terrifies them. They cannot say, "You are a prophet." They cannot say, "You are anointed." They cannot say, "There is something on you that I cannot explain, and it makes me uncomfortable." So they reach for the smallest, most reductive language they can find, and they staple it to your forehead. And if you are not careful, you will spend the next 20 years trying to argue with that label instead of walking in your actual name. Daniel got renamed. They took the boy named Daniel, God is my judge, and they called him Belteshazzar. They tried to put a Babylonian god in his name. They tried to overwrite his identity. But Daniel knew who he was. The Bible keeps calling him Daniel. The narrator never adopts the new name, because the Spirit of God knew the truth even when the empire did not. You have been renamed too. By family, by teachers, by exes, by church people, by yourself, on the worst days. And the Spirit is calling you back to your real name today, the one written before the foundation of the world, the one heaven knows you by, the one no one in this earth has the authority to overwrite. Stop answering to Belteshazzar. Your name is Daniel. Stop answering to Jacob. Your name is Israel. Stop answering to Simon. Your name is Peter. Stop answering to whatever they called you in the worst season of your life. That is not your name anymore. So here is what I want from you. Out of these 9, the looking away, the confessing, the pushing away, the competing, the empty advice asking, the imitating, the sudden anger, the sudden closeness, the wrong labels. I want you to do something for me. I want you to scroll down to the comments and tell me which one of these you have lived through this week. Not this year, this week, because I have a feeling at least one of these is sitting right on top of you as you watch this. And I want to know which one. And I want to know who it was, not their name, just their place in your life. The coworker, the cousin, the mother, the pastor, the friend you thought would never go. Write it down. Get it out of your chest. Because part of being one of the 144,000 is learning that you are not crazy, you are not alone, and you are not the only one who has lived this exact moment. There are thousands of us reading these comments. Some of us are about to weep when we see your story, because it is our story too. I will be reading every one of them, and I will be praying over the ones the Spirit highlights to me. So do not hold back. Tell me where you are. Tell me what they did. Tell me which one broke you the most, and let's carry each other home.